Hello neighbor, this is Curt with Etrailer, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Pewag Servo RS tire chains and see how they interact with our 2022 Ford Edge. Now if you've gone ahead and decided to purchase these tire chains and you've got some experiences to share, go ahead and leave those in the comments below. We'd love to share your story with our other neighbors so they can make the best decision for themselves. Now, if you're heading on a vacation, and a lot of times you go into areas that require tire chains in order to pass through, a certain area of mountains or wherever it may be, or you just live in an area where a set of tire chains can really come in handy in those winter months, the Pewag Servo is an excellent choice. This is a self-tensioning tire chain, so unlike a lot of others where there can be shifting over time, you want to pull over every once in a while and make some adjustments, it won't be necessary with these. Through this servo and the tensioning through this chain and cable, it's going to keep constant pressure on those tire chains as you're driving in order to keep them seated in a good position. These are a square link, which means they are going to have a little bit of an edge to them, but that's going to be really, really nice when you do have to bite through things like ice on top of all that snow and stuff like that, or underneath in most cases. So it's really going to do a good job of biting into that. It's also in what's called a diamond pattern, which means the chains are going to cross over each other, and it also means that unlike a ladder pattern, no matter where you are in the tire rotation, there is always chain touching the ground. So it's really going to help with that kind of consistency. Now, we do have it mounted on the rear wheel of our Ford Edge. A Ford Edge can come in either a rear wheel drive or an all-wheel drive. For rear wheel drive, you would have to mount it on the back. If it's an all-wheel drive, you have the option of mounting it on the back or the front tire. In those cases, I would probably mount it on the front tire, because another thing about a diamond pattern chain is it does a really good job helping you negotiate turns and things like that. Everything is color-coded on here, so if you're in low-light conditions, it's going to be really easy to be able to see and get it on. And this is a style of tire chain that doesn't really require you to go underneath the vehicle to make any connections, so it can keep you relatively dry as you're putting them on. Now, the first thing that we want to do before we install our tire chains is just kind of lay them all out flat. What we're looking for is any twists or kinks in the chain that we want to make sure that we untangle. And the other thing is too, is if we've used these before, we just want to double check and make sure we don't have any damage to them before we put them on our tires and start down that icy road. Before we really go into detail though, I did want to point out that Pewag provides a really nice case for these, in that one of the things about tire chains is often it's really hard to keep them organized. They don't come with a good container. That is not the case with this. This is really nice. We've got a bag with some extra links and connections should anything break. And it's got this really good divider in between one set and the other just to keep them from getting tangled together. And it snaps shut pretty well. It's going to be easy to store and be handy in the vehicle anytime you need it, and does a pretty good job of keeping them separated and dry. But since we have this all laid out, I did mention earlier that they do a good job of color coding all of our connections. So you can see here with this red hook and this piece, those are going to end up going together along with these pieces here toward the top of the tire itself. But we have a division here in the middle, and what we want to do is just kind of get that separated. And we're going to go ahead and feed our tire chain around behind our wheel. And as we're doing that, I want to take those separations that we had in the front and kind of bring them around just to help make sure that we get a good drape out of these when we actually put them up and over the tire. So now that we've done that, I'm going to go ahead and, doing my best really to kind of keep control of the chain, I'm going to grab my cable for the back here, and we're going to go ahead and get it up into place and make that connection. And with that done, we're going to keep kind of draping everything over. So after the cable's connected, we're going to go ahead and drape and try to center the links of the chain to the middle of the tire here, just kind of keep it consistent. But the next connection we're going to make is going to be this red hook up at the top to this red loop here. Okay, we're going to continually kind of working to center it and to get our bottom connections out in front of the tire. Okay. And now that we've got that all set, we're actually going to activate our servo here. What we're going to do is up at the top, you'll see twist it this way for drive, and at the bottom this way for open. So we're going to turn it that way to open it. That would be a clockwise direction there. And then we're going to be able to pull this cable out and give ourselves some slack to make our connection down here at the bottom. And at this point, we are going to take our hook down here at the bottom and connect it right around this little bar right here. Okay. Now that we've got that in place and it's loose, we could just double check to make sure we're kind of consistently draped. We don't have any of these pieces here up against the wheel itself. And now all we're going to simply do is turn this red knob counterclockwise to drive, and it's going to cinch up and create tension on our chain consistently. Now what this means is being automatic tensioning is, again, you're not going to have to make any adjustments. If any slack happens as these tires are rolling, it's going to be immediately cinched up through this servo and tightened automatically as you're going down the road. So with the ease of installation, the fact that you don't have to get underneath your car like you do with a lot of manual tensioning, you're not going to end up having to stop every 10 or 15 minutes just to double check your connections and make sure everything is tight. Honestly, I think that peace of mind is worth the little bit of extra money it takes to get an automatic tensioning tire chain just to keep you on the road safely and to be able to install and uninstall quickly. So with all that being said, I think the Pewag Servo RS would be an excellent choice for you and your Ford Edge. I'm Curt with Etrailer. Thanks for stopping by.